Yeah, so this one is better than the second one. So that's something. Also, the end credits has the song Me and the Devil by Gil Scott Heron in it. And I originally discovered that from Luther. So I was really, really happy to hear that. What's up, guys? This is Courtney, one half of the Brothers Deconstruction here, and I'm bringing you my super late review for Tales from the Hood 3. Tales from the Hood 3 came out last year. I hadn't originally heard about it. I hadn't heard about it until they had started doing promotional material for it. I think 2 or 3 weeks before it released on Blu-ray and streaming, I had seen a commercial saying that it was coming out, and I was shocked because I didn't know that they were making a third one. So it's directed or co-directed by Rusty Cundieff and Darren Scott, who were the creators behind the first two. And this one was executive produced by Spike Lee. So there are 5 stories in this movie, including the framing story. Framing story is The Mouth of Babes and Demons. That, along with The Bunker and Dope Kicks, were written and directed by Cundieff, and Ruby Gates and Operatic were written and directed by Darren Scott. So to start, like I said, this is much better than the previous movie, Tales from the Hood 2, which I have a review for. You can check it out on the channel. I won't say, it's the second best Tales from the Hood movie by default. Take that how you will. Some of the graphics, the visual effects in this movie are still pretty Some of the dialogue and story situations are still clunky and weird. The framing story, The Mouth of Babes and Demons, threw me for a loop though. So starting off, it stars Tony Todd, London Brown, Cooper Huckabee. You have a cameo / small role by Lynn Whitfield, which I was surprised to see. And you have some other actors as well, Sage Arundel. The framing story, The Mouth of Babes and Demons, Tony Todd's William is with Sage Arundel's Brooklyn. She's 6, I believe. They're walking through like a graveyard, and throughout the movie they're walking through like a cave and real weird, dark, dungeonous places. So he says, hey, I'm taking you to go see your mom. She says, all right, are those bad things still chasing us? And you kind of see hooded figures. She says, I'm scared. When I'm scared, my mom lets me tell a story, or she tells me a story. Can I tell you a story? So that's where we get all these stories from. So he says, all right, but you have to whisper them really, really quietly. So the first story is called Ruby Gates. It's basically a property owner who owns this apartment complex called Ruby Gates. I guess his boss, I'm not entirely sure who this guy is, but they've moved out all of the residents of Ruby Gates, and there's one family left. The reason why they're moving out all the residents is because I think they want to tear down the complex and they want to build something in its place. This guy goes to the family and tries to bribe them again, and the parents are really apprehensive, and the dad is like straight up, no, we're not doing this. We're not taking your money. Our son is sick. He's in chemo. The doctor says we can't put him through a stressful situation, and moving is a stressful situation. So you're going to have to fucking wait. The guy goes to like a junkie that he knows, an arsonist junkie, and says, hey, I need you to do something for me again. Set a fire to this one apartment. I still got a family that won't move out. I don't want anybody hurt. Make sure they can get a way out. Do what you gotta do. The guy goes and sets fire to the apartment. The family ends up dying. He ends up going and meeting up with the junkie and killing him just so he won't rat to the cops if they start coming around looking. And then he starts like seeing things, getting calls from that family, just a bunch of random shit. Now, one of the funny things in the story is that the young boy was bouncing the basketball in the apartment, and when I first saw it, I was like, why the fuck is he bouncing the basketball in the apartment? Pretty quickly after I asked that question, I found out that they were the only ones living in the complex. So yeah, I'd do whatever the fuck I wanted to. I'd bounce the basketball as well. So he starts seeing visions of the family. He goes back to the apartment complex to see where these phone calls are coming from, like who's there, because he's getting calls from them. And he ends up seeing, like a scary, fiery visions of the family. They end up like kind of haunting him and pushing him out the window, and he falls to his death. That's Ruby Gates. The acting was okay. I think the situation itself was pretty fucked up. I think the acting and some of the graphics kind of took me out of it because it was clearly really cheap visual effects. But I mean, I don't know how big the budget was for the movie, so I shouldn't really comment on that. After that, it's called The Bunker. It starts out with a white guy like kind of chastising and yelling at some people that are looking at him. He's in a bunker, and basically what he does is he's super racist. Like, he has a Confederate flag jacket. He has blow up sex dolls of black, Mexican, and I think maybe Asian. Degrades them, I guess, if you can degrade a sex doll, but talks about those particular races very, very badly. And he has like a intercom that he talks into. I guess he thinks he's broadcasting like a radio frequency or something like that. And so he very early on, you can tell that we're not supposed to like this guy. That was kind of hard to sit through, because even though all the racist stuff was kind of heavy-handed, the stuff with the sex dolls was a little too weird for me. Like, it shows him making out with them and like actually fucking one up against the wall. Like, it's not explicit, but he's clearly humping that. His pants aren't all the way. Yeah. Anyway, early on, I figured out that he was in some type of exhibit. He kept saying people were watching him, and then you kept getting looks from like over the shoulder, but it was only a glimpse of the shoulder. It wasn't like a full over the shoulder shot of the people watching him, but you can kind of see somebody in frame. So I figured that he was in some type of exhibit. So it turns out he is in an exhibit. It's a force field around the bunker. He gets fed up because some explosions or something are going off, and he shoots at them. The bullet hits the force field, bounces back, hits him in the head. Kids that are looking at the exhibit are like, is he dead? Turns out it's like an American history exhibit. This is the racism exhibit, or the American racist exhibit. And then they move on to another one or something like that. So I think very early on, you're able to tell that it's an exhibit that he's in. Again, I think the guy playing that character in the bunker did a great job, because he really sold the fact that he did not like black people, Mexican people, or Hispanic people, or anybody other than white people. And he wanted to bring white people back to prominence and all that jazz. But there really wasn't no other interactions that we saw besides like the parents and some of the kids at the end of it. That was a little too weird for me. Again, the framing story of The Mouth of Babes and Demons, basically Tony Todd and Sage Armadale go deeper into like this cave on their way to, this place where they're waiting for Brooklyn. That's Sage Armadale's character's name, waiting for her mom. And she's continually telling him stories. So then we get to Operatic. This is the story with Lynn Whitfield in it. It's about a girl who's a backup singer in a like R&B group. She gets kicked out because she starts trying to like out-sing the lead singer, and she has a better voice than her. So this guy that's at the recording session basically tells her, hey, I can work with you, I can make you famous, all that stuff. I run errands for this old rich lady. She's looking for a companion. You should check it out. I'll put you two in touch. So that's what the story is. And Lynn Whitfield is the old rich lady, Marie Benoit. That's her character's name. I originally thought Marie was going to be a vampire because you could tell very early on there was something weird about her. And then she was like, hey, I'm anemic or something. She has some type of blood disorder, but she doesn't like hospitals. So she has blood in her refrigerator, and she has a catheter where, if she's feeling weird or sick or anything like that, go to the fridge, get her some blood, hook it up to her arm, and then she'll be good. The girl's name is Chayla. I thought it was Jayla, but I couldn't hear the CH sound. But Chayla, the guy that she's dating, Park is his name. He comes up with the idea, hey, let's kill her and take her money. She has a bunch of valuable stuff, wouldn't nobody know. Chayla ends up going through with it because at one point, Marie said that after she told her she was a singer, Marie had her sing, and she was like, I guess you're a serviceable singer. And so she felt some type of way about it. So she ends up going through with it. They kill her, but really it turns out that Marie is a different type of vampire. She's a body swapping con artist. So the little ritual was Park drinking blood. You see this old man drinking blood, and he turns into the young Park. And then he goes through a ritual with Marie, gives her blood, and basically it swaps souls with her and Chayla. So Chayla is in her old body, and Marie is in her young body. And then, after Marie comes to, she has these visions, nightmares, shit like that. After Marie comes to and Chayla comes to and she's in Marie's body, Park ends up like pushing her over a banister in the house and killing her like that. Again, I thought Marie would have been a vampire, but instead she was a body swapping con artist. That story in and of itself, again, the acting was okay. Wasn't really nothing to ride home about though. The last story is Dope Kicks. The setup was hilarious. So it's about this dude called like the Knockout Robber or something like that basically punches people and knocks them out when they aren't looking and steals all their stuff. It starts out with like seeing him do this to an old lady, and then he ends up doing it to like some young kid in a subway, and he steals his gold shoes. So he puts the shoes on, even though he says he's going to sell them. It turns out that the old lady her daughter is like a voodoo practitioner. And on the news, she curses him. She says, you will walk a mile in your victim's shoes and you will feel their pain. Now, during that news segment where she grabbed the mic from the news reporter and everything, she had a Caribbean accent, which she then lost later on in the story after that guy ends up running into them. But she curses him. He, meets up with one of his boys, gets some food, shits and pisses on himself. When he gets home to shower, he can't take the shoes off, so he can't take his pants off. Although I probably would have just tried to take the sweatpants off over the shoes, but that's just me. So he showers in the pants, washes them, washes himself, all that stuff, blow dries his sweatpants, which he stole from a stylist apparently. He gets stuck, his jaw gets stuck. He's looking his stomach bothers him all the time. He's looking real sick. So it turns out that the guy whose shoes he stole, he killed. So he's going through what dead bodies go through. Dead bodies release, because the muscles are relaxed, dead bodies tend to release all bodily waste. He was going through rigor mortis. That's why his jaw was stuck open, and at one point he was stuck in place walking through the same subway where he killed that guy. So they tell him, yeah, you're going to hell, but right now you're stuck in between. And he sees a car accident and an angel come and take the soul of the person, which I thought was weird, but I'll come back to that. And they tell him, you need to go find the body of that guy you killed, try to morgue. And, you know, I think they tell him that he needs to like apologize or something like that. He interrupts the autopsy. And while he talks to, I guess, the medical examiner and tells him what's going on, the assistant who told the medical examiner beforehand, hey, look, today's my anniversary. I'm not trying to be here all night. She just goes ahead and starts the autopsy. And we start seeing the same wounds and cuts on his body. And when she starts sawing the skull open, he gets a big gash across his forehead and just falls out. When he saw the car accident, nobody else was around. You mean to tell me that you're walking outside and somebody sees a car and there's a car accident and nobody else, like, you don't hear any commotion? He's like across the street from, it happens across the street from like a theater or something like that, and he's the only person outside and sees this angel take the soul of this person. I just thought that was a little bit hilarious. His predicament in total was really funny. Again, some of the dialogue and all that stuff was kind of clunky. The voodoo practitioner loses her Caribbean accent when he sees them in the hospital. So, wasn't a bad story, but I wouldn't say it was A+ or anything like that. So the ending of The Mouth of Babes and Demons, it had effects that took me out of it. Basically, we find out that Tony Todd's William is like a child murderer, and he kidnapped this little girl, Brooklyn, and he's gonna kill her because he has her stand in the middle of this room. He puts like this weird sack on her head. He even and tells her to like kneel down. Even grabs like a camcorder, and then she basically starts taunting him, and all the other spirits of these other children that he's killed come to him. And yeah, a lot of the stuff that happened during this ending sequence was just kind of weird. We get her with CGI, like fiery eyes, and she's wearing makeup like dead presidents. And basically all the spirits of the children jump William and kill him, and they end up cutting his head off, but he's still alive. We also get the world famous "Welcome to Hell, motherfucker," said by the little girl in like a modulated voice. Welcome to hell, motherfucker. It was actually pretty fucking hilarious. If the effects had been better, it would have had more of an impact on me. But I thought it was pretty fucking hilarious, like the whole situation. So that's just me. But it made me smile. Yeah, so after that, the two little druid hooded figures that they were kind of running from throughout the entire film walk with her. She puts his head in that little sack, and they walk off. And then we get Me and the Devil by Gil Scott-Heron during the credits. Yeah, I was hoping that Tony Todd was her grandfather, and this would be like a wholesome moment for him, because I know Tony Todd has been in a bunch of movies, but he's known for being a bad guy or having that, you know, that voice of a bad guy. So I was hoping that this was going to be like one of the movies where he was really, really wholesome, but it wasn't. So it kind of threw me for a loop. That's what I mean when I say that. But I think overall Tales from the Hood 3 is an okay film. I think they focused a little bit more on the horror aspect, but it wasn't the same level or quality as the first movie. So yeah, that's my review of Tales from the Hood 3. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, I think it's worth a watch. It was entertaining, but probably for some of the wrong reasons. But at least it's watchable, because Tales from the Hood 2 is god-awful. Oh my goodness. That's my super late review tip for Tales from the Hood 3, guys. Check out the other videos on the channel. Watch the reviews for Tales from the Hood 1 and 2. And more specifically, watch the review for Tales from the Hood 2 instead of watching the movie. I had somebody in the there's somebody in the comments on that video that said that they should have listened to me after watching the review, but they just had to check it out for themselves. And I was like, look, I will never steer you wrong. The movie is not good, but this one is okay. It's Tales from the Hood, Tales from the Hood 3, and then I'm going to just act like Tales from the Hood 2 didn't exist. So, yeah.